Obviously, this wasn't the plan for her. The plan was to be at Kempton today, but circumstances changed. She looks pretty revved up, doesn't she?
She does, yeah, she does. Yeah, she was supposed to run in the Desert Orchid Chase today at Kempton, Gary, against Altior. That would have been some clash. Altior giving her £7, but there's some clash here as well. She's taken on her stable companion Notebook and Chacun Persois, obviously getting the £7 mare's allowance as well. And she's a very, very good mare. She won the Arkle last year. She won the Arkle Trial last year. So the Arkle last season back in March. And then she won the Schler Chase on her debut this season back at Cheltenham when she had to dig deep and when the soft ground probably wasn't ideal for her. So she comes here. It wasn't her intended target, Gary, but she was obviously on track for today, this day. So she shouldn't lack in terms of fitness or race readiness.
So she's just making her way out onto the track. Notebook's just been mounted by Rachel Blackmore in the chute on the way out as well. And as we know, he can be quite a buzzy horse, Don. We saw at Cheltenham the false start, what have you, the brouhaha, it all counted against him on the day. I think the lack of a crowd here at Leopardstown is a big plus for a horse like him.
I think you're right, Gary. There's no buzz, there's no hum. He's able to just, as you say, Rachel's able to get up on him on the way out to the track. And we've seen him before. We've seen him running free beforehand and still going and winning at Pudgestown. So look, he's a talented horse. He goes very well here. He's 2 for tier here. He won the novices chase at this meeting last year, and then he won the novices chase at the Dublin Racing Festival as well. So he's a progressive horse. He was very good himself on his debut this season. So he'll give Chacun Persois a race, you would imagine.
I think so. There he is making his way to post. When he went out onto the track, I think it was for this race last year, he turned right instead of left and proved a right handful, but he was on his best behaviour in the race itself, and he's a fair sight in full flow over fences, and hopefully we'll see him continue that this afternoon. He officially recorded a career best when he won at Naas on his seasonal bow, slamming Fakir Duderi by 12 lengths. Jingle was back in third. And Cashback, of course, who went off favourite for that race, was an early faller. But bar that, what I think is an easily excusable defeat in the Arkle at Cheltenham, he hasn't put a foot wrong really over fences, and hopefully he's going to be a big part of the spectacle here today. The other three, Don, market's saying they've little to no chance. 16 to 1 about Animix, the shortest of them. Can you see any hope for them?
Not really, Gary. Like, you'd be surprised if one of the top three in the market didn't win. The Castlegrace Paddy, he's an admirable horse. He won the Fortria Chase. He actually beat Absolute Tard, a stable companion of Notebook, and put the kettle on there. But Absolute Tard is stepping up in trip to 3 miles for the Savills Chase tomorrow, and 2 miles probably just isn't far enough for him. But look, he's a very good horse of Pat Fahey's. Castlegrace Paddy just at grade 1 level against some of the best 2 milers around at the moment. He just might struggle. Animix is interesting. He's only had 2 runs over fences. He's probably going to be the leader, you would imagine, with this pace in the race, and for Notebook's chances, you'd imagine that a fast pace is probably important to him. What do you think Animix is going to lead? He's shaping up to lead, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think given how buzzed up she looked, Put the Kettle On could well be forward here as well, and could see the big two, according to the market, sitting in behind. The last fence, I'm afraid, is out due to the sun. This time it's come back strong, and it's very low as well, so it would definitely be a factor with that final fence, I'm afraid, as things stand. So they've made the call, and it's going to be a long run home from that second last fence.
Reward Club Chase, 2 miles and 1. They will be omitting the final fence owing to the low sun. Chacun Persois is 4 to 7. Notebook at 7 to 2. Put the Kettle On 13 to 2. 16 to 1 Animix. La Richebourg 28s. 40s Castlegrace Paddy. Over to you, Gary, where Chacun Persois is 4 to 7 to make amends for this defeat in this race last year.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, he's coming into it on the back of a win in the Hilly Way Chase in his seasonal bow. Notebook also a winner first time out. So too was his stable companion Put the Kettle On, who was a bit revved up in the parade ring beforehand. Put the Kettle On, but a great racing prospect on.
It's a hell of a race, Gary. Look, we've got some of the best 2 mile chases around here. We've got the Arkle winner from last year. You've got Chacun Persois, would have been favourite or near favourite for the champion chase. We've got Notebook, one of the best novices from last season, who was very good and winning on his debut this season, winning the Poplar Square Chase. So yeah, those three, it should be a fascinating race between the three of them.
Animix and Put the Kettle On, I think, are the two likely candidates to strike off at the head of affairs. The big two possibly just going to sit in behind. Jerry Hannon for the first of our Grade 1s.
White flag raised. They're off in the Paddy's Rewards Club Chase, Grade 1, over 2 miles 1 furlong, and a reduced number of fences, 9 this time. Like Lanigan's ball with these fences. And it's the grey Animix in the bright green cab who shows the way in these early stages, being followed by stable companion Chacun Pour Soi. On the near side is Put the Kettle On and Notebook in between horses, a couple of lengths back to Castle Grace Paddy and Le Richebourg at the end. Continuing this significant run to the first of 9 fences, and it is Animix cutting out the running, followed by the mare Put the Kettle On. Chacun Pour Soi, who was outdone in this race last year in a disputing 3rd place with Notebook and Rachel Blackmore. And these are being followed by Castle Grace Paddy as they jump the first fence all safely over. It's Animix David Mullins being followed by Chacun Pour Soi Paul Townend. Put the Kettle On Sean Flanagan on the outside of Notebook and Rachel Blackmore. And then comes Castle Grace Paddy and Brian Cooper with the back marker Le Richebourg and Mark Walsh. They've jumped 2, good run to the 3rd, and it's the grey leading the field, Animix, being followed by Put the Kettle On and Chacun Pour Soi, the Hilly Way winner on the far side of Christmas, and Notebook in between horses, dual course Grade 1 winner. At the back of the field, after a break of 2.5 to 3 lengths, Le Richebourg and Castle Grace Paddy. 10 furlongs out, jumping the 3rd fence, first of the ones in the back straight. Chacun Pour Soi, but scrappy, as Animix is the leader, being followed by Put the Kettle On, Chacun Pour Soi, Notebook, Castle Grace Paddy and Le Richebourg. Little changes in the order of running, going towards the 4th, second one in the back straight. And it's Animix in front, tracked by Notebook, Chacun Pour Soi, Put the Kettle On. And then comes Castle Grace Paddy and Le Richebourg as they go to the first ditch. Right across from the stands, they've passed the halfway stage. Animix, Chacun Pour Soi, separated by Notebook. And Animix lost the lead there to Chacun Pour Soi and Notebook as they go to the next fence on the far side. Animix relegated to 3rd, then Put the Kettle On, Castle Grace Paddy, Le Richebourg as the 2 leaders fly that. Notebook and Chacun Pour Soi 2 lengths in front of Put the Kettle On. Le Richebourg up in between Castle Grace Paddy, and knocked back to the rear is Animix. Last fence in the back straight, and it's Chacun Pour Soi who just rose first from Notebook. A couple of lengths off them, and 3rd is Put the Kettle On, and then Castle Grace Paddy, Le Richebourg and Animix coming off the back straight. 2 fences left to jump in the Paddy's Rewards Club Chase. Little to choose between Chacun Pour Soi and Paul Townend on the inside of Notebook and Rachel Blackmore. A length and a half back to Put the Kettle On and Sean Flanagan as they race for the final fence. They're followed by Castle Grace Paddy, ridden in 5th is Le Richebourg, and last of the 6 is Animix. Coming now to the final fence, and it's Chacun Pour Soi, the leader, by less than a length to Notebook. In 3rd place is Put the Kettle On, and these 3 are followed after a break of 4 or 5 lengths, Castle Grace Paddy, Le Richebourg and Animix. The jumping is behind them as they run the home turn, just over a 1/4 mile to go, and it's Chacun Pour Soi turning in and starting to lengthen away from Notebook. In 3rd place is Notebook stable companion Put the Kettle On, then Castle Grace Paddy, who plugs on in 4th ahead of Animix, being eased as Le Richebourg. But it's Chacun Pour Soi and Paul Townend coming away in the Paddy's Rewards Club Chase. In 2nd is Notebook, and then comes Put the Kettle On, Castle Grace Paddy and Animix. But Chacun Pour Soi has them run ragged up the straight. It wasn't to be last year, but is well and truly making up for it in 2020 in the Paddy's Rewards Club Chase. Chacun Pour Soi wins by a really 8 lengths from Notebook, Put the Kettle On, and then Animix, Castle Grace Paddy, Le Richebourg.
Yeah, Chacun Pour Soi, too good. 7 to 4 on favourites. He wins the first of our Grade 1s this afternoon in really decisive fashion. Notebook matched him down the back straight. The 2 of them jumped really well over that line of fences, but Chacun Pour Soi went on after the second last, or the what would have been the original third last, and from that point on, the riding was on the wall, really, wasn't it?
It was. He was very, very good, Gary. It's a really, really professional performance by Jacques Persois, and he was taking on really lively competitors in Notebook and put the kettle on, but he jumped really well. There was a good sight there down the last 2 or 3 fences in the back straight. He and Notebook went toe to toe, and Animix just kind of got one wrong and moved to the outside, and it was a good little tussle between the two of them, but all the while you felt that Paul Townend was holding on to plenty, and he just eased him clear in the run to the final fence, the usual second last, and then just eased clear around the home turn. It's a really, really top class performance.
Here we are then, watching them down the back straight. Animix still just about in front at this stage. It just got a little bit tight, I think, at the previous fence on the inner between Notebook and Jacques Persois, but it was at that moment Animix just landed a bit awkwardly. The big two really did start to dominate the race, and as the two of them go over these fences down the back straight, they really were winging them, weren't they? Putting in some great leaps.
It's great, like the two milers, it's the sprint distance of National Hunt Racing, and the two of them just locked horns over those 3 fences, and each of them going well. Paul Tanner and Rachel Blackmore just allowing the horses underneath them, and Rachel Blackmore sees a stride here at the third last, and up they pop together. It's brilliant to see them, and it's in the balance there, but it's just around about whenever they kind of